You don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and stuff like that, which is bad. We may have to rename this show
because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
There's a difficult question to ask ourselves here. Is it better for extremists to be able to express their views openly, or is it better that they keep it in the shadows? What does it mean for a society when the extremists are becoming more and more comfortable espousing their views in public? I don't think there's a simple answer to this question. When it comes to the hidden extremist ideas, these have the effect of an echo chamber that makes it even easier for radicalization to happen. This is because society does not have the ability to target the ideas and respond to it as effectively as it might if those ideas were open. So people who subscribe to such ideas are not constantly exposed to the friction that society is posing, thereby allowing them to figure out just how vacuous their ideas are. Another more obvious drawback to extremist ideas being hidden is that inherently nobody knows about them. Most people are unaware of what might be brewing right under their noses. So this makes any outburst from such malicious ideologies to be very acute, concentrated, and violent. And it makes people wonder, how did I miss that exactly? And this happens all the time. But that is a risk that we have to weigh against the other side, which is a society where these extremist ideas are not hidden. That too comes with its own potentially more malignant cost. We have a situation where the radicalization process is still possible because now these ideas are percolating to even larger numbers of society. In addition to this, the Overton window of what we consider to be sane or reasonable ideas start to move further and further towards the extremist side. So while this marketplace of ideas and sunlight is the best disinfectant principle might seem to work in theory, in practice, it doesn't seem better. It actually seems worse than a society where these extremist ideas are hidden. And honestly, I could be swayed either direction on this. I'm not, my conviction on whether one is better than the other is quite tenuous, I must admit. Although obviously I'm leaning towards the idea that it's much better to live in a society where these extremist ideas are hidden. It just seems as though the effects of explicit extremism are more long-term, they're more broad in their scale, and perhaps they're more insidious. They're subtle, but they keep festering and eating into the cracks of our norms in society. What do you think about this?
My next claim is that Donald Trump is defying the Constitution.
So I would say that with Trump being anti-Constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us. Yeah. And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So, quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So this is wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset. So I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay, surprise! I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Selective constitutionalism. This man is essentially saying that he does not care about the Constitution except the Second Amendment, except the ideas that affirm his own beliefs and that of his tribe. It is so blatantly hypocritical that it's very difficult for me to see how people who espouse such ideas are coming from a place of good faith. This hypocrisy is so rampant on both sides of the political spectrum. We have progressives shouting down speakers, trying to disinvite them, and rioting, using free speech as a justification for that. And yet, when it comes to other things that they find hateful, they try to upend the Constitution or just claim that the Constitution is now vacuous because it no longer agrees with their views. And here in broad daylight, we're also seeing it with the far right. If we treat our Constitution a la carte and only respect it when it serves our own self-interest or agendas, what room is there for a rule of law in a country with so many different ideologies from so many different cultures? How do we come together as a people and call ourselves a nation if we can't agree on the most basic tenets that are supposed to be guiding us and that have guided us this far? If everybody gets to pick and choose which laws to abide by, depending on how well those laws suits their selfish interests, they're not laws anymore. They're simply suggestions. And this is something that even an authoritarian government cannot survive on, let alone a democracy.
You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever
the
it's in your
Second
favor.
Amendment. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
So you don't
it's the
believe in
friend enemy.
democracy?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Donald Trump is not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I completely agree, and
So
that's
you
part of the
support Trump?
problem.
You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John Pork or someone. I
Why
can't
did
even
you-
remember.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted.
This is
I kind
fascinating.
of voted just to.
I came with this
troll a
argument,
little
but I'm
bit,
bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
Yeah, absolutely.
how do we get to an autocracy?
There are two distinct ideas that could be talked about here. One is amendment and the other is discarding. If we skip straight from the amendment process, which has been well established in this country, and jump straight to discarding, I'm not sure we have a country anymore.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact local
Who
leaders,
is the we,
or-
by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
Yeah,
No brown
absolutely.
people. So
Well,
some
actually,
of you guys,
I have quite.
some of the people
I
in this
have
room
quite-
don't make the cut
No,
from what I can
actually,
see visually.
Actually,
Okay.
hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you.
Okay.
I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white and should stay that
How
way.
does the United States? I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like under you? Sorry, what's your name?
My name is my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh,
to say
well,
your name.
I use
Connor-
a pseudonym online.
Fair enough,
but
Connor.
fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
No, I didn't ask about
whether-
deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader, such as
Where does he come
Franco.
from?
It could be a kind of aristocratic class. Could be someone
No, but
who
who picks the autocrat?
frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings
So
were
isn't
paid.
that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that
And
stage.
then no more votes afterwards.
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow.
This guy's ideas are so contradictory and haphazard. He is cherry picking the Constitution. He is claiming that he would rather live in an authoritarian government. But how do we get there? Well, through a democracy, duh. Through voting. It sounds almost comical. And by the way, he respects human dignity. But how do we preserve human dignity? By shifting ourselves into a regime that has absolutely no regard for human dignity. with the type of authoritarian worldview and system that he is envisioning here. It's quite astonishing, the level of contradictions that this man is bringing to the table. There are two ironies here. One is that Catholics often endorse democracy, and two, this idea of a racial society that is untouched by any other race is completely absurd, impractical, illogical, because not only does no society exist today or for thousands of years now who have not been mingled in one way or another with other tribes, other cultures, other groups of people, other races, but also, even if it were somehow possible to create such a world, even if we were to assume that there is such a thing as a pure race now, the idea that that race could be preserved in the increasingly interconnected world that we live in without an immense amount of violence that would be impractical to even imagine is completely absurd.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone, even their own
Schmitt makes
supporters.
this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right? You
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and stuff like that, which is bad. We may have to rename this show
because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats. They were aristocrats. They didn't care.
Are you in favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic.
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
The White Terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and being a Nazi
is mutual,
if being a Nazi means upholding human dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't in a state that I was running. I wouldn't want to hurt you or anything like that. But quite frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
Okay. So do you concede then? I mean, why?
Do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis? Yeah. Yes, I concede that.
Okay, great. So I mean, what are we doing here? Because I mean, you just seem offended.
What you're doing here,
you just seem offended, to be quite frankly. Like
I'm offended by people who can't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really care about being. Yeah, sure. I don't care about being called a Nazi is the whole thing.
I never called you a Nazi.
I care about doing the right
Nazi,
thing.
a fascist, and a General Franco supporter.
Well, yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly. Because the whole thing.
And you don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate? This is democracy. Not what a debate and disagreement.
Because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean upholding free speech after we win. Again, I mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist moment we're in is that you guys are so open about it.
The whole reason I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, and you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy distinction. Even liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage power against me. Just that simple.
I'm not sure what you want to say.
Hey, it is what it is.
All right. Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
I can't say the same, but thank you.
He's obviously a very confused person, and while I get that Mehdi Hasan has no appetite for people who espouse such views, I think he's already found himself in this situation where he's face to face with such a person. Why not take that opportunity to try to disabuse him, or at least other people who might have similar views, of their obviously unreflective opinions, to say the least?